Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back to the normal content. Sorry we took a little bit of a detour. I wanted to review probably a remaster of my favorite game of all time, and then I had to cover some asshole that I thought I dealt with a while ago, but hey, we're back at it. So today we're here to talk about the relationship between Garry's Mod and Five Nights at Freddy's, which is probably one of the most influential and popular horror series currently. I actually think a lot of the game's notoriety and popularity actually comes from a lot of the source community around 2014 to 2016 in terms of workshop content and videos that are just being put out around the time. In this video, we're going to be looking back on that era of horror within the source community and talking about the key events that probably helped make Five Nights at Freddy's as big as it was. In addition, we're going to be talking about what this era of Garry's Mod did to the source community and how it affected both the games that this community resides in, alongside the fan output both in the Five Nights at Freddy's community and the source community. Because the impact of this era of the internet actually has made an official impact on both the brand of Five Nights at Freddy's and gaming or YouTube culture as a whole. So let's get into it. For us to get to the origins of both the Source and FNAF community crossing over, we need to go back to Team Fortress 2. Slender Fortress was a game mode for the hit game Team Fortress 2, in which you go around various maps akin to the game Slender the 8 Pages, attempting to collect all the pages while avoiding someone hunting you down, playing as either the Slender Man or various different characters. Each of the characters that are also being hunted have these different perks, and it kind of has a system akin to something like Dead by Daylight. Wild enough, this game was actually the source of the first ever Source Five Nights at Freddy's model. While this game mode is popular, these models wouldn't gain popularity until they were ported over to the Steam Workshop for people to use in Garry's Mod and Source Filmmaker. These would gain immense popularity within the Five Nights at Freddy's Garry's Mod community due to them being some of the earliest models on the entire workshop and them being pretty accurate for their time. You see, due to the original Five Nights at Freddy's games being 2D games, you weren't able to just extract the models from the game and rip them over and put them in Source, so a lot of the attempts to recreate these specific designs to this day are basically fan recreations with little inaccuracies. This results in a lot of animations using these models from around this time kind of aging in a really weird way. But to these models' credit, they've kind of built their own cult fan base with people using them in an ironic and almost goofy throwback way, due to them kind of having this association with MLG and goofy SFM animations from back in the day. One of the most popular SFM animation series and one of the most popular subcultures of the Five Nights at Freddy's source community was actually the weird MLG Five Nights at Fuckboys inspired animations, most popular through channels such as Hitler's Pimp, now known as Dr. Dash, and the people that he kind of associated with in a group known as the Pimps. This group consisted of Dr. Dash, who at the time was one of the biggest animators for the Five Nights at Freddy's community, Mr. Jericho, another Five Nights at Freddy's animator, Nixon, famous fan game developer of the hit game The Joy of Creation, Mr. Rawi, a more variety-based content creator, Gold95 Chica, another animator, and various other content creators that I could just list off for hours. These guys basically created a media empire, with them pushing Source Filmmaker as much as they can individually and creating a subculture of people that were in it for these of the time goofy animations with humor about MLG glasses and smoking weed and oh my god, mom, get the camera, that kind of shit. This group eventually would dissolve, with it being kind of a product of its own time and a lot of internal conflict starting to pop, resulting in people like Nixon leaving and going on to make stuff like the infamous Joy of Creation fan game that would go on to become such a success that he'd be hired by Scott Cawthon himself. With this evolution from this era of the Five Nights at Freddy's community, a lot of the stuff that would come from this kind of side of the Source FNAF community would be more about music videos and mods within the actual Garry's Mod game, where you're being chased around by animatronics and shit. This came with a higher quality to a lot of the individual models and animations, and more effort and passion being put into making stuff more accurate and representative of the original game. This constant innovation and evolution of the community resulted in a fuck ton of add-ons being put onto the Steam Workshop, and people kind of getting fed up with it who weren't involved in those whole Five Nights at Freddy's craze at the time. This created kind of a divide with people who are coming to Source purely just for FNAF shit, and people who are there from Half-Life and some of the original Valve games. This was a really interesting situation and resulted in a lot of older Garry's Mod players trying to distance themselves from these newer Zoomer, oh my god, they're just here for their little kids horror games. My friend Dags, alongside content creator Richter Overtime created a series of videos about this exact situation that you guys should probably check out. They're honestly really great videos, and those two are just honestly really great content creators. Go subscribe to them, they're fantastic. Eventually this divide got a lot more accepted, and people kind of went off into their own separate communities, resulting in a lot of SFM animators from the Five Nights at Freddy's community going on to change to stuff like Blender and becoming some of the most fantastic and honestly high quality creators within the Five Nights at Freddy's fandom. This video wasn't super in-depth about some of the specific models and events within this community, but that isn't honestly the point. This is more me trying to celebrate this weird crossover between these two communities and hopefully getting people to see some of the interesting events that were going on around the origin point of Five Nights at Freddy's crossing over with this community. It's honestly super amazing, and I'm very happy that it's a crossover that exists, because without this, I don't think Garry's mod would be as big as it is today currently. It's very much a game that has a lot of highs and lows, and Source as an overall tool probably wouldn't be as big if it weren't for the result of this crossover. So honestly, thank you Five Nights at Freddy's for bringing a lot of people to the Source community, and thank you the Source community for bringing a lot of people into animation and a lot of artistic endeavors. It's really awesome, and I'm very happy that this entire interaction between these two communities exists. Something I'm also very happy about is you, the viewer. Thank you guys for hopping on by and watching this video. This has been really awesome to make, and I just want to make a little short video about this crossover of these two communities because honestly, I think it's super important to the Source community as a whole, and I think it's super important to the growth of Five Nights at Freddy's as a series. Thank you guys for watching up to this far. You guys are amazing, and if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and I'm really trying to reach 10K by the end of the year. I think we could do it, and I'm very happy about the growth so far. If you guys enjoy content like this, please check out my other stuff. I make videos on Team Fortress 2, Garry's mod, Portal, Metroid, and whatever the hell I think is interesting at the time, so if that kind of thing interests you, please leave me some support. It's really awesome and goes a long way to this channel's growth. But for now, thank you guys for hopping on by. This has been SleepLIVE, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!